We'll be covering the points of power for the last chapter, the power and money. Points of power. It's the attractive force of love that moves all the money in the world. And whoever is giving love by feeling good is a magnet for money. You can tell how you feel about money because if you don't have all you need, then you don't feel good about money. Love is the attracting force that brings money, and love is also the power that makes money stick. When you pay your bills, find a way, any way to make yourself feel good. Imagine your bills are checks you're receiving or using gratitude and gives thanks to the company who sent you the bill. When someone comes into your hands, when some money comes into your hands, no matter how small it is, be grateful. Remember, gratitude is the great multiplier. Feel love when you pay for anything instead of feeling bad because you have less money. The difference between the two is the difference between having plenty of money and struggling with money for the rest of your life. Use physical money as your cue to remember to feel good about plenty of money. Imagine the front of each bill as the positive side, which represents plenty of money. Each time you handle money, deliberately flip the wheel so that the front is facing you. If you feel really good about success, no matter whose success it is, you stick success to you. Give in equal value to the money you receive through profits or your salary. If you give more than the money you're receiving, your business and career will take off. Money is only a tool for you to experience the things you love in life. The attractive force of love has unlimited ways for you to receive what you want. And only one of those ways involves money. Imagine being with what you love, doing what you love, and having the things you love because you will feel far more love than you wish if you only think about money. The beauty of life is that when you put love first, all the money you need to live a full life comes to you. Today we'll be starting this new chapter, the power and relationships. Extend to each person, no matter how trivial the contact, all the care and kindness and understanding and love that you can muster. And do it with no thought of any reward. Your life will never be the same again. Og Mandino, 1923 to 1996 author. Giving love is the law that applies to everything in your life. And giving love is the law of relationships. The force of love doesn't care whether you know someone or not, whether a person is a friend or foe, a loved one or a complete stranger. The force of love doesn't care if you're encountering a work colleague, boss, parent, child, student, or a person serving you in a store. Every single person you come into contact with, you are either giving love or you're not. And what you give is what you will receive. Relationships are your biggest channel to give love. And so you can change your entire life just through the love you give in your relationships. At the same time, though, relationships can be your biggest downfall because they are often your biggest excuse for not giving love. What you give to others, you give to yourself. The most enlightened beings throughout history told us to love others. You were not told to love others just so that you would be a nice person. You were being given the secret of life. You were being given the law of attraction. When you love others, you will have an amazing life. When you love others, you will receive the life you deserve. The entire law is summed up in a single command: love your neighbor as yourself. Saint Paul, circa 5 to 67, Christian Apostle in Galatians, verse 5:14. Give love to others through kindness, encouragement, support, gratitude, or any good feeling, and it comes back to you and multiply itself, bringing love to every other area of your life, including your health, money, happiness, and career. Give negativity to others through criticism, anger, impatience, or any bad feelings, you will receive that negativity back, guaranteed. As the negativity comes back, it multiplies itself, attracting more negativity, which affects the rest of your life. Now, what does it mean by giving love? When you hear the word or the line, give love to others, give love to your partner, give love to all the persons who come in your life, what is it? What do you decipher from this sentence of giving love to others?
Uh, for me, it would mean that basically give so like there can be ups and downs, but keep the unconditional love flowing without judgment, without prejudices, because that's our own conditioning of our own belief system. Somebody else's belief system can be something else. Uh, so basically, even if you're receiving something negative, still give love. Eventually, it will be all healed if love keeps flowing.
Anybody else? What do you mean by giving love to the other person or giving love in your relationships?
Being compassionate or being, non-judgmental. Um,
Empathy also, Arjun. Empathy, understanding, compassion. Not sympathy, but empathy, basically. Uh, Understanding and just flow with love. I mean, that's what my understanding is. Just keep flowing with love. Go with the flow, basically.
Anybody else?
Yeah, it can be respect also, Arjun.
Yes.
It is the respect, unconditionally love.
Anything that makes, every love in a general notion is just good feelings, positive feelings, above the line feelings. Okay. So just, what is the difference now when you are giving it to the other person? How would I know whether I am giving positive feelings? My speech can be positive, okay, but what I'm feeling, or what is the thought behind, which from the premise where the thought is coming, whether that is positive or that is negative. Now there is a very, very clear distinction between that. With that, whenever you are giving love, above the line feelings, positive feelings to the other person, if it makes you lighter, it's coming from the zone of love. But if that makes you heavy, breathe heavily, it's not coming from the zone of love. See, anything which is light is, which is above the line, positive, zone of love. Anything that which makes you or your heart heavy, there is some locha there. So you need to check. So anything, I mean, love can be from premise of all the good feelings, all the good emotions available. They can vary. People can come from a zone of joy. They can come from a zone of unconditional love. They can come from a zone of being giving respect. They can come from a zone of, joy, happiness, enthusiasm, gratitude, anything. But if that feeling makes you lighter, it is from that zone. But if that feelings makes you heavy, check your intention again. कहीं ना कहीं कुछ लोचा है. It's not about the other person. You can tell in your relationships right now what you've been given, what you've been giving. If a current relationship is great, it means you are giving more love and gratitude than negativity. If a current relationship is difficult or challenging, it means you are inadvertently giving more negativity than love. Some people think a relationship is either good or bad because of the other person. But life doesn't happen that way. You can't say to the force of love, I will give love only when the other person gives it to me. I repeat, you can't say to the force of love, I will give love only when the other person gives it to me. You can't receive anything in life unless you give it first. Whatever you give, you receive. So it's not about the other person at all. It's all about you. It's all about what you are giving and what you are feeling. It will be always about you. Remember, life is an echo. Whatever is outside is your inner reality. Whatever you see in others is what you see of yourself in yourself. The other person is nothing but a mirror in front of you. So whatever is there, because see, who is deciphering whatever the other person is doing? You or your mind. So your mind is going to be thinking the way it wants you to think. It is not going to be thinking other person's perspective. Na? माइंड में जो चल रहा है वो खाली माइंड को पता है, और उसने उसी बेसिस पे, उसी परसेप्शनरी ग्लासेस से, उसी मेमोरी बैंक से आपको उसका आंसर देना है. सो इट इज नथिंग but what is running inside your mind. What happens outside is just a reflection of what is inside, because what is inside is only decoding what is outside ना. जो अंदर है वही बाहर आएगा. You can change any relationship right now by looking for the things you love, appreciate, and are grateful for in that person. When you make a deliberate effort to look for the things you love more than you notice negative things, a miracle will take place. It will appear to you as though something incredible has happened to the other person. But it's the force of love that is incredible, because it dissolves negativity, including negativity in relationships. All you have to do is harness the force of love by looking for the things you love in that person, and everything will change in that relationship. I know of hundreds of relationships that have been restored through the power of love, but one particular story of a woman who's used love's power to restore her crumbling marriage stands out from the others, because this woman had lost all love for her husband. In fact, she couldn't bear to be near him. Her husband complained every day. He was sick all the time. He was depressed and angry and verbally abusive to her and their 4 children. When the woman learned about the power of giving love, she decided right away to feel happier despite the problems in her marriage. Immediately, the atmosphere in their home became lighter, and the woman's relationship with her children got better. She then went through her photo albums, looking at the photos of her husband when they first married. She took some of the photos and put them on her desk to look at them every day, and by her doing this, something amazing happened. She felt the love she had first felt for her husband, and as she felt the love return, her feelings of love began to increase dramatically inside her. She reached a point where she loved her husband more than she ever had in her life. Her love became so great that her husband's depression and anger disappeared and his health began to return. This woman went from wanting to be as far away as possible from her husband to a marriage where they want to be with each other, with each other as much as possible. Now, what is the shift that happens? When you are coming from the premise of love, and ultimately you are your own responsibility and you are your only responsibility, you just clean your specs. जो हमारे लुकिंग आईज के आगे जो शीशा है या स्पेक्स है, जब हम उसको लव के कपड़े के साथ साफ करते हैं ना, the only issue is you get more clarity. One. And second, you are so much into that love, you enjoy that feeling. The other person will never change. The other person will be the same unless or until he is also working on himself. If the other person is not working on himself, he will never change. He will be the same. But your perception about him will change. Because you've changed your glasses, or you cleaned your glasses, you cleaned your lenses with the cloth of love. That's the only difference. दूसरा बंदा कुछ नहीं बदलता है. He remains the same. But the way those things which used to earlier bother you will stop bothering you. I mean, it's no doubt it's a gradual phase. It won't happen overnight. कि आज मैंने love की feeling से देखा तो कल से मेरा love, one snap and चल बंदा बदल गया. No, you have to give it time. But yeah, once you change your perspective of looking at the other person, now that perspective is also coming from your mind. But the difference now is the mind has more wisdom and is more calmer and wants to work from the premise of love and not from the premise of fighting. यही चेंज होता है जब हम कहते हैं ये तो बंदा ही बदल गया. जैसे माइंड को विजडम मिलता रहेगा नॉलेज के साथ साथ, जब उसको आप एक्सपीरियंस करोगे, so that is where you will start getting that wisdom, because wisdom is always experiential. Whatever you read, whatever you hear, audiobooks, audio podcasts and everything, that is nothing but knowledge. But yeah, once you start applying that knowledge, चाहे थोड़ा थोड़ा, small bits me you'll start applying, and then you get the realization that yes, this knowledge is really has an impact, or it really works. That is where the mind gets the clarity in form of wisdom. So जब वो experiential learning से wisdom आता है mind को, तो वो cleaning होती है with the cloth of love, and then your perspective about the same person changes. The other person remains the same. बिल्कुल भी, if he is not working on himself, he will not change. But yeah, when your perspective changes and you accept him the way he is, that is what hits the other person also. And he also, now needs more wisdom, more knowledge. He'll work, start following other things, or he will also start realizing. Because abhi kya hai, jab baat ho, jab, when it's a relationship where there's a lot of fighting happening, na? So whenever those people will meet, they will always have their guards up when they meet. जिसे कहते हैं ना, वो जब लड़ाई होती है तो बंदा बंदूक लेके घूम रहा होता है. So the other person, both of them will always have their guns to fire. But if one person drops the gun and the other person says, यार ये तो गन भी नहीं लेके आया, इसने मेरी गन भी देख ली, it's not affecting him, what is wrong with him? That changes the shift in the other person. So first you have to work on yourself, get your guards down, understand, come from a premise of love, and go for experiential learning so that the mind gets more wisdom. Then you will see that the other person is also beginning to make and or have some changes. Love means freedom. Now here is the tricky bit with giving love in relationships, and it's the one thing that has prevented many from receiving the life they deserve. It's only tricky because people have misunderstood what it means to give love to others. To be very clear about what it means to give love to others, you need to understand what it means not to give love to others. Trying to change the another person is not giving love. Thinking you know what is best for another person is not giving love. Thinking you are right and the another person is wrong is not giving love. Criticizing, blaming, complaining, nagging, or finding fault with another person is not giving love. Hate is not conquered by hate. Hate is conquered by love. This is a law eternal. Gautam Buddha, 563 to 483 BC, founder of Buddhism. I want to share a story I received that demonstrates the care we must take in our relationship. A man's wife had left him and had taken their children with her. The man was devastated. He blamed his wife and he refused to accept her decision. He continued to contact her, determined to do everything he could do to change her mind. He may have thought he was acting out of love for his wife and family, but his actions were not loving. He blamed his wife for their marriage ending. He believed that she was wrong and he was right. He refused to accept his wife's decision to choose for herself because he would not stop contacting his wife. He was arrested and sentenced to jail. The man eventually realized that he was not giving love when he denied his wife her freedom to choose what she wanted, and that he lost his freedom as a result. The law of attraction is the law of love, and you cannot break it. If you violate it, you break yourself. I am sharing this story because the ending of intimate relationships is very challenging for some people. You cannot deny someone else's right to choose what they want because that is not giving love. It is a bitter pill to swallow when your heart is breaking, but you must respect everyone's freedom and right to choose. What you give to another person, you receive yourself. And when you deny another person's freedom to choose, you will attract negative things that deny your own freedom. Maybe the flow of money to you decreases, or your health weakens, or your job takes a downturn, because all of these things would affect your freedom. There is no other person for the law of attraction. What you give out to others, you give to yourself. I repeat, there is no other person for the law of attraction. What you give out to others, you give to yourself. Giving love to other people does not mean you let people walk all over you or abuse you in any way, because that's not giving love either. Allowing another person to use you doesn't help that person, and it surely doesn't help you. Love is tough, and we learn and grow through its law. As a part of that learning, we experience consequences. So it is not love to allow another person to use or abuse you. The answer is get yourself onto the highest frequency of good feelings that you can, and the force of love will resolve the situation for you. Whenever anyone has offended me, I try to raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach it. Rene Descartes, 1596 to 1650, mathematician and philosopher. It's very important to, in any relationship, be it a husband, wife, be it your parents and you or your child, any relationship you are in. One thing which is very, very important, and one thing which is very, very tricky, is to respect the boundaries of the other person. One thing which either a man or a woman does not tolerate is when somebody breaches their boundaries. Now, this is a big term. Boundaries can mean different for different people. But yeah, on the broader sense, you need to respect the other person's boundaries. Now, that respect is when we are talking about unconditional love. See, because the other person's boundaries have been set by the other person's mind. It's because since both are not coming from the same belief system, your belief system is through your experiences, your memory bank, your mind. The other person in the relationship, his or her belief system is going to be through her experiences, her upbringing, her childhood programming. So everybody is going to be having different sets of beliefs and different sets of experiences. There can be some common ones, that's not an issue. But yeah, in those beliefs, the boundary is created. So, in order to be in a good and a healthy relationship, you must respect the boundaries of the other person. The secret to relationships. Life presents everything to you so that you cannot choose what you love. And part of the gift of life is that you are given all kinds of people, so you can choose what you love in those people and turn away from what you don't love. You are not meant to manufacture love for qualities in a person you don't love, but simply to turn away without giving them any feeling. Turning away from what you don't love in someone means you are relaxed about it and you know life is giving you a choice. It doesn't mean that you argue with them to prove they are wrong, or you criticize or blame them, or that you want to change them because you think you are right. Because if you do any of these things, you are not giving love. Big time. Your own soul is nourished when you are kind, it is destroyed when you are cruel. King Solomon, circa 10th century BC, biblical king of Israel, in Proverbs verse 11, 17. When you are on a feeling frequency of love, then only people who are on the same feeling frequency as you are can come into your life. When you know some days you feel really happy, some days you feel irritated, and others you feel sad, you can be many different versions of yourself. A person in a relationship with you can also be many versions, including happy, irritated, or sad. No doubt you will have seen them being many different versions, but every version is still that person. When you are happy, then only the happy version of the other people can come into your life. But if you have to be happy to receive the happy versions of the other people, I repeat, but you have to be happy to receive the happy version of the other people. It doesn't mean you are responsible for other people's happiness, because everyone is responsible for their own lives and happiness. What it means is that there's nothing else for you to do but to feel happy yourself, and the law of attraction will do the rest. Happiness, I'll just share this here. Happiness depends upon ourselves. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC, Greek philosopher and scientist. It's an interesting point of view. For example, in relationship, the other person is saying something in which you are not convinced, or you are not okay with it. Now, what do we do at that time? We can either fight, or both of the persons in that thing will walk away. But there is a third thing, and very important and enlightened thing to do. What, when you are in a relationship and there is some person in front of you or with you who has said something which does not match or resonate with what you think is right or wrong, just stop there for a minute and analyze it from a premise of that it is just another point of view. The other person's opinion is just another point of view. Not necessarily it's going to resonate with you. Not necessarily it's going to be in agreement with you. But when you are coming from a premise of being a judger or being, into comparison, that is where the rift happens. But if you come from a premise of a learner's mindset, on a enlightened mindset, just think of it as another point of view and see if it can make any sense or not. Not necessary that the other's point of view is right or wrong, or not necessary your point of view is right or wrong. Both can be right, both can be wrong. Depends na who's judging. दो टेररिस्ट आपस में बात कर रहे हैं, हमने 10 मारे, नहीं तूने 10 नहीं तूने 12 मारे, and I am a policeman, I say both are wrong, I know how many murders you've done. It's a point of view ना. तो अगर हम अगले की बात को इस नजरिए से देखें कि या इट्स एन इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, दैट्स इट. Who are we to judge and compare? And why are we judging and comparing? Every person is coming from a different background, different belief system. Everybody can have different points of views. That's why everybody is different. They are not the same. It is just that everybody has similar body parts. They'll also have 10 fingers. We also have 10 fingers. Some people might have 11 fingers. See, because judgment is coming from your belief system. It's not coming from the other person's belief system. So what is coming to you is a point of view. So you need to consider and look at things from this premise that it's an another point of view.